Good morning, members of the Intelligent Transportation Systems Committee. This meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking. For those participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you would like to comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form. MAG staff can assist you with any questions you may have. If you parked in the garage, a validation stamp is available on the counter. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee. Raquel Schatz from Apache Junction. Sergeant Craig Martin from Arizona Department of Public Safety. Susan Anderson from Arizona Department of Transportation.
Present.
Thank you. Xiusung Zhao from Arizona State University. Ward Stanford from Avondale. Alan Galicia from Buckeye.
Present.
Thank you. Danny Mahaffey from City of Chandler as a proxy for Elisa Doll.
Present.
Thank you. Tessa Wessel from Elvinraj.
Present.
Thank you. Kieran Jordan from Federal Highway Administration.
Present.
Thank you. Mike Sutton from Town of Gilbert.
Present.
Thank you. Jose Gutierrez as a proxy for Ruben Lopez for Glendale.
Present.
Hugh Bigaik from Goodyear.
Present.
Munir Zaman from City of Maricopa. Joe Cottrell from Maricopa County Department of Transportation.
Present.
Micah Henry from City of Mesa.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Cher Johnson from Paradise Valley. Brandon Furry, proxy for Judy McKenzie for Peoria. Simon Ramos, City of Phoenix.
Morning.
Thank you. Christopher Wanamaker from Pinal County. Julian Rizang from Queen Creek. John Savage as a proxy for John Huang.
Here.
Albert Garcia from City of Surprise.
Present.
Ellie Wolosin from City of Tempe.
Here.
Marty Zeke from Valley Metro.
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have the quorum.
Thank you. Our next item is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Informational items or items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to audience unless the chair requests an exception to this limit. Have we received any requests to speak?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any comments.
MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with the committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. Have we received any comments for the call to audience?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any comments and the report has been submitted to the members of the ITS committee.
With that, we'll move on to item 3. This item is on the agenda for information and will be presented by David Lucas, the MAG ITS manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the ITS committee. Today, I'd like to start with a couple brief updates on several ongoing MAG projects. The first of which is the Downtown Phoenix Signal Optimization Project. This is an effort that was recently begun with the City of Phoenix and Valley Metro, and we're also coordinating with Maricopa County given the connected vehicle acceleration zone that's also going to be operating in this area. So this project is focused on improving signal coordination and signal operation within the core downtown area. And it spans about 80 intersections between 7th Avenue, 7th Street, McDowell, and Buckeye. So there's obviously a lot going on in that area, a lot of multimodal activity, light rail, lines going through that area, a lot of development growth in that area, a lot of pedestrian activity. So we're going to be doing basically a large-scale TSOP in this area, Traffic Signal Optimization Program project, to do some simulation, do some modeling, and see how we can improve the overall operation in this core area. So more to come on that. ITS architecture, we recently kicked off that effort. The last update to the ITS architecture was in 2019, so it's time to review that. There have been quite a few updates to the national ITS architecture, and there have been several new service packages, things like that. So this all needs to be updated to reflect some of the changes that are happening within our region and make sure that this important document remains current. This also ties in nicely with other ongoing efforts that we have, for example, the regional TISMO plan development, which follows a similar timeline. The ITS architecture project will be finished at the end of 2026. Next is RCN assessment. This is a project which began a couple months ago. We're change of a consultant and a little bit of modification to the scope. So that project is going to be re-kicking off later this month. So we appreciate all of the feedback that we got from the member agencies. That was very instrumental in providing us the direction forward to make sure that the RCN continues to be a valuable regional asset to serve our member agencies. So that project is also going to be underway and will wrap up at the end of the fiscal year in June 2026. Regional TISMO plan. Many of you around the table here have been involved in that. There have been technical advisory group meetings. We just wrapped up the second one. Excellent participation. So I want to thank all of the MAG member agencies for your active participation. This is a major effort, and it's great to see everyone involved and providing your valuable feedback. This is a regional plan. MAG is simply facilitating it and leading it, but it really serves the entire region. So we definitely require and are thankful for your participation. So more will be coming on this. We've recently done some stakeholder outreach, and the next step on that aspect of the project is going to be some focus groups that are going to be coming out. So keep an eye out for those, scheduling those meetings, and it'll be a good opportunity to get some one-on-one feedback with many of you. And finally, the TSOP assessment is close to wrapping up. This is a review and assessment of the current traffic signal optimization program, which has been in place for over 20 years. It's been very successful, and it's long due to assess the program, look at some of our peers around the nation, what they're doing, some lessons learned. Technology continues to change, so we're looking at leveraging third-party data, new tools, simulation tools, things like that to make the program better and make sure that we continue to meet the needs of our member agencies. There was really strong support for this. As many of you know, there were interviews conducted. A lot of great feedback was received that in general, the program is meeting our needs, but there's always room for improvement. So we're taking this opportunity to do that assessment and improve the program further. Finally, we have two items on the calendar just to make you aware of. Hopefully, the first one is next week. So hopefully you're all planning to attend the ITS Arizona Annual Conference. Looking at the program, there's a lot of great participation and projects that are being shared from throughout the region, as well as several from MAG itself. So definitely good to see that. And then in November, there's the Automated Transportation Symposium, which we're fortunate enough to have hosted here locally. That's another great opportunity. And then the last item is the Regional Transportation Plan update. As mentioned last month, we are in the current open comment period, which closes October 10th. At your table, there are some cards that have this QR code and information as well. Please feel free to take those back with you and share those at your agency. We want to get as much input, again, not to belabor the point, but MAG is driven to serve our member agencies. We really need your participation and your support, all of the voices, to be able to make sure that the regional transportation is as good as possible. So please take the opportunity, check the website that's on there, click the QR code, and provide your feedback before October 10th. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, David. We'll move on to item number 4. Our next item is the approval of the meeting minutes. Does any member of the committee have any questions on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, prior to approval of the meeting minutes, is there an opportunity for members of the public to comment? Have we received any requests for comments on this item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any requests.
Thank you. I'll give you guys just a moment longer. All right, hearing nothing again, is there a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
I motion to approve.
All right, we have Ellie from City of Tempe that has motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have Alan from the City of Buckeye with the second. We'll have those participating in the meeting online take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. We need to see your faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on those virtual participants who did not turn on their camera. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote so that staff can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Members, please leave your cameras on. Staff, can you take roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their camera?
Micah Henry from City of Mesa.
I approve.
And lastly, Munir Zaman from City of Maricopa.
Approve.
All right. With that, the meeting minutes are approved. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, which is the fiscal year 2026 traffic signal optimization program. And this item's on the agenda for recommendation for approval of the prioritized listing of the fiscal year 2026 TSOP projects and will be presented by David Lucas, MAG ITS Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the MAG ITS Committee. So on your screen is the timeline for the FY 2026 TSOP process. We're pretty much at the midpoint right now at today's meeting. where we will be presenting the prioritized list of TSOP projects and recommending approval of that list. To remind you, the evaluation was comprised of two parts, a quantitative portion and a qualitative portion. The quantitative portion was completed by MAG staff. The qualitative portion was completed by members of the MAG ITS committee. We appreciate everyone's response. All of the scores came in promptly and quickly, so we definitely appreciate your support and helping us complete this process on an expedited schedule so that we could get this going as quickly as possible. So with that, this is the prioritized listing that came out of that evaluation scoring, again, taking into account both the quantitative and the qualitative criteria. And just to remind everyone, there were a total of 21 projects that were submitted across 11 different agencies. Just under $1 million in funding was requested. And at this point, $500,000 is budgeted in the RSTIP. Again, to remind everybody, there's no line on this graph on this table. The responsibility of this committee is to recommend this prioritized list to the policy committees where that funding decision will be made. So that is not part of our purview here today. It's simply to recommend for approval this prioritized listing. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? And we do have MAG staff that are here to answer any questions you might have about the scoring process. It follows the same process that was done last year, so no changes were made. There were documents that detailed exactly the process that was used, and the raw scores, which do max out at 100, are shown on the screen. All right. Hearing no questions, we can move forward, Mr. Chair, with the request for motion for recommended approval.
Thank you, David. Do any members, as David said, have any questions? I'm assuming not, since you didn't ask any. Prior to voting, there is an opportunity for members of the public to make comment. Have we received any requests for items for this agenda item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any requests.
Have we received any online written comments for this agenda item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any comments as well.
Thank you. Is there a motion to recommend approval of the FY 26 TSOP prioritized project listing that was shown today? Does anyone want to recommend?
Phoenix, motion to approve.
All right, we have City of Phoenix, Simon for a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second as well. And I am forgetting your name. I'm so sorry. John. I wanted to say Jake for some reason. Sorry, John, for the City of Scottsdale. We have a motion, from Scottsdale, like I said. So now we'll have those participating in the meeting online take part in the voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. All right, MAG staff will now do a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their cameras.
Mr. Chair, we have the voting complete.
All righty. With that, that item was approved, and we'll move on to item number 6. This item is on the agenda for recommendation for approval of the City of Buckeyes project deferral request and will be presented by Patrick Stone, MAG Deputy Transportation Director Programming, and John Willett, City of Buckeye Deputy Director in Transportation. With that, I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thank you, Chair Sutton, members of the ITS committee. Pleasure to be here. I'm really just going to introduce the item, then I'll turn it over to Mr. Willett to actually do the presentation of Buckeyes deferral. Really what I wanted to emphasize is the why we are here doing this. MAG's regional programming guidelines, which were approved by MAG Regional Council back on June 25th, state that a member agency seeking a project deferral must present that deferral request at the committee of origin, this being the particular committee of origin for this project. And then it's the member agency's responsibility to tell the story of what has occurred, why the agency is seeking that deferral request, and what they have done to mitigate any outstanding issues. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Willett from the city of Buckeye to present their item. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chair, fellow ITS committee members. This project in the city of Buckeye was, a little history, was two projects at one time. It was Miller Road by itself, and then it was also Monroe Avenue as the second one. When we first proposed this to ADOT to get our project numbers, the ADOT PM asked, hey, these two have the same intersection, common point, can we combine them? So when we combined them, that became our first official deferral. And so if you're familiar with this process, you're allowed one deferral. This is our second, and that's why I get to be here. The reason it's become a second, and I will take full blame for this because I'm a big boy, I have big shoulders. In working with the ADOT PM, I was very slow in getting responses back to ADOT on the IGA. And the time it took to get the IGA officially approved, we were not going to be able to meet the schedule to deliver this in the new year. So the short story is we're asking for a deferral because we just got the IGA approved and will be completed this year. So what the project entails is installing conduit and fiber on Miller from I-10 down to Monroe, and then from Monroe through the downtown Buckeye area, installing missing conduit and the fiber. The intent from this project was to allow us to communicate them remotely. I'm sure you've heard from Alan from the city. We now have a traffic management center. And through ADOT, we will actually be able to reach out and physically touch these signals remotely instead of through a drop-down wireless system. So we're very excited to get this done. So I have actually transitioned this project. It is no longer mine. John's not the bottleneck anymore. So it'll move forward. So this summarizes what's happened. We combined them into one project. These are the limits again, from I-10 all the way down. Is there a circle thing to show if I push a button? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
It does. I don't think it shows up on the television.
Well, that's a bummer. Okay, so starting just below the word Miller, and that area right there, Miller Road up, we are finishing the east side of Miller Avenue. We are actually installing that conduit today as part of a CIP project. So it's one less cost that this project would incur. We're trying to find a way to put the fiber in as part of a cost savings, so that may be removed from this project. Don't know yet. That's one thing that's being worked on. And I guess I'm done. I'm just kidding. All right. Project challenges was getting the agreement done in time and the schedule constraints. Bruce can confirm me. We have 95% plans into ADOT. They're just waiting for this to be approved. I hate to admit this, but I'll tell this to people. We actually had a problem getting the check processed, and I didn't know that sat for 2 months. So a lot of learning curves for John and our group to find out why it's taking a while to get things through our system, so ADOT can help us as we're asking them to. Deferral benefits, time for technical review package to be done. The CIP projects are being worked on. We're hoping some other stuff's happening to keep reducing the cost. And we have development projects coming in like crazy. And the revised timeline, we should be finished. We hope to advertise in January, February. Construction begin in March, April. You're all familiar with the ADOT process. Whether we're ready or not, ADOT has to do all their stuff before they'll advertise it, and completion by the end of next year. I'd love to take credit for all this presentation, but I didn't. Thank you, Wendy. And so that's way better than I would have done. Part of our challenge is the original budget was about 1.5. The city share was 82. The federal share was 1.3.5. The costs have gone up. However, we're actually getting this down because we're changing some of the fiber. We're not using a 432. We're going to a 288 to try to save some money as well, get our costs down. As of right now, anything over the 1.365, we know the city's on the dime for, but we will gladly pursue closeout funds if they become available to help offset the costs. And I'll answer any questions. Good, none, thank you. I'm sorry,
Does
Brent.
any member of the committee have any questions at all for Patrick or John on this? And thank you both.
Hey, Mike, this is Micah with City Mesa. Is there, does the city have dedicated funding to address the increase in budget?
Chair, members, Micah, at this time, I cannot tell you I have that $20 in my pocket set aside, but we will find it by the time we advertise this project. We'll find it somewhere. It's an important project for the city. We will find the money.
And I guess the only comment I have, just to make it clear for everyone, is this already was planned and budgeted for, so we're just deferring it. There's no effect on any other project or item. I wouldn't say, right? Is that correct, Patrick?
Yeah, Chair Sutton, members of the ITS committee, from MAG's perspective, and as Mr. Willett illuminated in the slide on the budget, it's just shifting the federal funding from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26. We have the capacity to absorb the deferral into fiscal year 26, so it won't impact any other projects. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions from any member of the committee?
I got one more, Mike. There is a, sorry, this is Micah with Mesa. Is there a schedule for finalizing the plans and the specs for the project?
Yes, Micah, the goal is to have the 95% plans are in ADOT right now, waiting for them to begin their review. And then once their review is completed, our consultant will address those comments, finalize the plans and the specs, and have them to ADOT so they can have a bid ready by January.
Thanks.
Thank you.
But just to make it clear, he did say that they're waiting for us to vote, so they'll review that complete that last review. All right, if there are no other comments, prior to voting, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. Have we received any requests for this agenda item?
Mr. Chair and the members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any requests.
Have we received any online written comments for this agenda item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any comments as well.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to recommend approval of the City of Buckeyes TIP project deferral request?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the request.
All right, we have a motion by Albert Garcia with surprise. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is he allowed to second it even though he's from the City of Buckeye? I don't think he is either.
Chair Sutton and members of the committee, no.
I'll second.
We would want a second from another member.
I'll second.
All right, we have a second from Simon Ramos with the City of Phoenix. But that was a really nice try, Alan. All right. We will have those participating in the meeting online take part in the voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Members, please leave your cameras on. Staff, can you take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their camera?
Mr. Chair, we have the voting complete.
Thank you. With that item is approved, and we'll move on to item number 7. This item is on the agenda for recommendation for approval of the City of Scottsdale's project deferral request and will be presented by Patrick Stone, MAG Deputy Transportation Director and Programming, and John Savage, the City of Scottsdale ITS Manager.
Thank you, Chair Sutton, members of the ITS committee. Back again, kind of not going to rehash what we talked about with the City of Buckeye's request. This is a second deferral request for the City of Scottsdale. The same rules apply. It's covered by the regional programming guidelines. The city's responsibility is to demonstrate the need. What I did want to emphasize, this is actually a dual request. So we not only have a deferral request from the City of Scottsdale, this is also a project scope modification request based on the level of impact. It does have a substantial, what we would consider a major project change to the project. That would also, through the regional programming guidelines, require a presentation to the committee to approve that scope modification request. So in this instance, the city is going to discuss both the scope modification as well as the deferral request. And with that, I'll turn it on over to Mr. Savage with the City of Scottsdale.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I'm John Savage, requesting second deferral and project scope modification request for our flashing yellow arrow project. The original request was for 49 flashing yellow arrow improvements targeted along Scottsdale Road and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. And the original budget was $827,500. We're not really requesting any significant changes to the budget, so that's remaining the same. Some of the challenges that we ran into with this project are some of the original locations that were scoped out already have flashing yellow arrow, and I'll show a map showing which locations have a flashing yellow arrow today. And a lot of the intersections that were part of that original scope have dual left turn signals that operate in a protected only mode that we would not utilize flashing yellow arrow time of day operation on. And additionally, some of the intersections that were remaining from that lot require some intersection modifications, mast arm extensions. With that comes new poles. With that, in some cases, comes new foundations. So that scope really balloons. The original scope didn't include any material costs beyond the flashing yellow arrow heads and cabling. So as we identified mast arms, poles, foundations, that continued to reduce the amount of intersections that we could incorporate into the project. So the modification is to reduce it from the 49 traffic signals down to 14. As we were working through what intersections to choose, we tried to target intersections that had high priority. So intersections that ranked on the MAG top 200 within those segments. And then also trying to target intersections that were lower cost. So trying to get as much as we can out of the project. It continues to meet the intent of the program. So we're still reducing delays, reducing emissions, increasing safety, which are all the goals of the funding source. So the project timeline, we're requesting a deferral to FY 2027. We're anticipating 12 months to completion once we get the project initialized. So 6 months for procurement and installation, another 6 months. Our plan is to utilize JOCs and city staff in order to get this project done within the budget that's allocated. Our signal crew is a full crew. We can stand up the poles. We can do all the operations needed on our side and utilize JOCs as necessary. And we've already begun coordinating with the ADOT LPA to begin scheduling the project as soon as we can get the project approved. This was the original application. So we were looking at the vast majority of Scottsdale Road within the city, at least the urbanized elements of the city, and then Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard for its entirety within the city. And this is a breakout of all the different traffic signals and their status. So the black circles with the yellow outline, those are intersections that currently have a flashing yellow arrow operation. The black circle with the outline in green is the protected only intersections. The blue circles were candidate intersections that were not selected. And then the green circles were candidate intersections that were selected for the flashing yellow arrow project. So we're requesting all the green circles, and just a separate map that shows just those intersections is provided here, and a list of all the intersections and which ones are on the MAG top 200 and which are not. Any questions?
I just have one quick one. I was wondering who the original had done the original submittal. I know it was City of Scottsdale, but I'm just trying to remember this presentation and I can't remember. I don't think it was you because I'm not pretty sure you weren't there then.
Yeah, I believe the original engineer was Hong. Yeah.
Micah Henry from City of Mesa has a question.
Hey, John, good presentation. Can I ask just a quick question? Are all of your FYAs going to be on time of day? In which case it'll be protected only, during the day, and then overnight it's flashing yellow arrow. What's the concept for the operations for FYA?
Yeah, so the operations will be on an intersection by intersection basis. So some of them may be operating in a time of day operation where it's some of them will be operating on protected only during the peak periods. As far as exactly when that time of day is occurring, that'll be up to further data collection and decision making. But the intent is to operate time of day on all of our flashing yellow arrows when applicable.
Is this deferment for 2 years then?
Yeah, we're
Like, you
deferring
fiscally-
to FY 2027.
John, I've just got a couple quick questions. So just for clarification, there is no increase to the budget on this?
Correct. There is no change to the overall budget. We are working within the allocated budget and just modifying the scope as necessary to fit within it.
Okay, so my second question follows up on that. So then, if I'm understanding correctly, the reduction in intersections would allow you then to procure the signal poles and mast arms that are associated with the additional length that's required to meet the alignment. Is that
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Whereas the original procurement was just heads?
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Were there any other comments from members of the committee or questions, I should say? All righty. With that, thank you, Patrick and John. Prior to voting on this item, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. Have we received any requests for this agenda item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any comments.
Have we received any online written comments for this item?
Mr. Chair and members of the MAG ITS committee, we have not received any online written comments as well.
Thank you. Is there a motion to recommend approval of the City of Scottsdale's TIP project deferral request plus scope modification?
Mike, this is Micah with City Mesa. I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have Mike with the City of Mesa with the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have Joe Cottrell with Maricopa County as the second. We will have those participating in the meeting online take part in the voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote. Can I have a voice vote of those in the room and those online? Those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Members, please leave your cameras on. And I don't think there are any. Oh, maybe there is one. Staff, can you take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their cameras?
Ward Stanford from City of Avondale.
I had trouble finding the link.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we have the voting complete.
All right. And with that, that item passes as well. And we'll go to item number 8. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Joe Cottrell, McDOT Traffic Technology Branch Manager.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the ITS committee. Again, Joe Cottrell, Traffic Technology Branch Manager for Maricopa County. So I'll be talking about our Connected Vehicle Acceleration Zone project. So this is the USDOT's Saving Lives with Connectivity Accelerating V2X Deployment Grant. So this was a grant that McDOT won with 18 public and private partnership members. So this is for deploying connected vehicle technology throughout the Phoenix metro area, or at least a large portion of the Phoenix metro area. And a large goal of this project is to demonstrate interoperability for that technology between vehicles, traffic signals, different back-end systems, and different manufacturers of the devices. The concept, the grant application concept here, so Maricopa County has regional needs that we think could be served by the V2X technology. So our 4 main use cases that we're targeting are emergency vehicle preemption. So there's been several studies that have shown that there's issues with interoperability, and we think this would be a great way to address those. Another one is transit signal priority. So This is improving or helping to improve the on-time reliability of our transit operations in the region. Next is freight signal priority. So we're looking to reduce some of the congestion air quality issues from the large distribution centers we have in the valley and try and get those freight vehicles moving a little bit faster and more efficiently through the region. And then the last one is to address vulnerable road users. So those are pedestrians or cyclists on the road network, and try and reduce the frequency of those incidents. So a little bit of our history on how we got here, and some of the things MCDOT has done with the connected vehicle technology. So some of you may be familiar with our Smart Drive program. So that was a test bed that was created up in Anthem, where we've been piloting connected vehicle technology heavily with the assistance of the University of Arizona, and then also ADOT and the Arizona Commerce Authority. So there's multiple areas around the country that are doing similar things to us, but this is kind of our pride and joy up in the North Valley here. So a little bit more about the Anthem test bed. So that's a master plan community with 25,000 residents and an estimated 10,000 vehicles. And we currently have 11 connected intersections up there. So originally it was planned with MCDOT React, the fire department up there, and a couple other partners. So we've got a little bit of work to do to upgrade that system. It's using some older technology, but this is kind of our first step into the latest and greatest with this grant program. So here's a little bit of a kind of regional map of some of the other projects that we're working on. So there's been some 101 mobility projects that we're working on, working through through ADOT with that project. And then we're also looking to expand in the Durango area by our Maricopa County Department of Transportation offices. And then we've got some freight and transit projects in the MC85 corridor, Tempe and Mesa around ASU. So we're looking to really help the transit in those areas to try and get those buses moving a little bit faster and more efficiently. So our project scope here, so we're targeting 750 connected intersections. 600 of those will have physical infrastructure and 100 will have virtual infrastructure. We'll have 400 onboard units, so those will be deployed on transit, emergency, and freight vehicles. So currently looking for additional freight partners if anybody wants to participate. Our architecture has been adopted from past CV2X projects, and we're working with consultants to develop all the engineering behind that process at the current time. We're working on hardware and software interoperability requirements. So there's 3 other sites. I don't think I touched on this. There's 3 sites, or there's 3 sites total, sorry. Utah and Texas that are also participating in the grant. And so the interoperability between our site and those 2 are important. So we'll be looking to demonstrate that vehicles can move seamlessly between those operations, to really show that this is something that happens kind of in the background and people can travel across the country and utilize this technology. A little bit about the communication. So it uses a 5.9 gigahertz of the spectrum. So that's a specific band that the FCC has set aside for connected vehicle technology, directly related to public safety operations. And then we are looking to potentially use some mobile devices like cell phones or tablets, so that people who have these technologies, already have these devices, can utilize the technology in their vehicle. And we're making sure we're going to do that in a way that doesn't create additional distraction. So we don't want to add safety benefits and then take them away by creating that distraction. And then we're looking to ensure that there's economic sustainability with this project also. So there's a lot of software that needs to be operated and maintained, a lot of devices that need to be purchased and maintained. And so we're looking to see how we can do that in a way that the users of the system will be able to contribute back to it. So we're collecting data about how that, or we're going to collect data about how that might be something we could pursue in the future. A little bit more on the deployment zone here. So like I said, 750 intersections. So we're thinking that's, roughly 25% of the signalized intersections in the metropolitan area. Focused heavily on the Phoenix area, but then also with Avondale and Tolleson, parts of Maricopa County, and ADOT's US 60 Grand Avenue corridor. So if you look at the map there, you kind of see it's pretty much along the I-17 and then I-10, and then up along US 60 there for the ADOT portion. So moving on to our concept here. So on the right side of the screen, you can see there's the vehicles. So there's a passenger vehicle a freight vehicle, an emergency vehicle. And so those will communicate through the roadside unit, which is essentially a radio device that gets mounted at the traffic signal. That radio device communicates with the traffic signal controllers and then also communicates through our communication network back to our traffic operations center. And then there's also the cellular connectivity there shown by that cell tower, where we'll have that as an option for using those mobile devices. But all this information gets brought back to our edge computers, either at the traffic signal or on our network, where we'll make decisions about whether somebody is an emergency vehicle requesting priority, a freight priority request, or a transit request. And then eventually that'll also be where we generate safety messages that we can push out to the vehicles. An important part of this is security. So we have a security certificate management system that's going to be in place. So that is a process where the messages between the vehicles and the infrastructure are signed by that service. And so that way we know that the person sending the message is the right person, and the person receiving it can trust that they're getting the right message at the right time for the right location. And then if you look on the left side of the screen there, we've got the infrastructure sensors on the bottom. So that's camera, radar, LiDAR. That's what we're going to be using to detect vulnerable road users. So pedestrian on the side of the road will be able to detect their presence and then eventually push that information into the vehicle so a driver knows that there's a pedestrian there that they might not be able to see, or they'll be able to get notice of that person sooner. And then moving up on the left side there, we've got our traffic management center and our traffic signal controller. So that's where a lot of the decision making is happening. Important note here is that the traffic signal controller is still controlling the intersection. So everything is still being handled through that process. So we have all the safety protocols in place through the traffic signal controller. A little bit about our timeline. So this is a kind of a 3-year grant. It's broken up into 2 phases. So the first 18 months is where we design, build, and test the system. So we're kind of closer to about the 1-year mark right now. So we're working on or finalizing our measurement, our performance measurement and evaluation plan and our data plans. We've got a lot of our system engineering documentation, 95% complete. We're waiting on some of our last minute decisions about how we're procuring devices, where they're going to be installed to finalize those documents. But we are at this time out with a solicitation for hardware. So we're looking to bring on some partners that will be able to provide that hardware and then start moving into the physical installations and then getting our testing. So at that 18-month mark is our go, no-go decision. So that's where USDOT gets to decide if we've met our grant requirements and move into the operate and evaluate portion. So that's where we'll collect data about the operation of the system and then move on to evaluate how it's working, share our results, and then we'll continue that for 12 to 18 months. And then after that, we'll move into our post-deployment phase. So this is where we operate and maintain the system. Our grant requirement is for 5 years, but we're looking at this as a foundational technology or foundational project to push this technology out as part of our regular transportation ecosystem here in the Valley. So I kind of talked a little bit about our status, but we're working through our engineering documentation. So a lot of this kind of on the side of interoperability is also creating documentation so other people can duplicate our process. So we've got concepts of operations, systems engineering, management plans, system requirements. So all the kind of documents that show people how we've made some of our decisions and what they need to be kind of thinking about to move forward. We're also working on our acquisition installation plan. So our competitive procurements and then how we're going to move through to install this. 750 intersections is a lot to handle in the last 6 months that we've got planned for the installation. So we're going to be very diligent about prioritizing corridors and then making sure that we get those done in an efficient manner. Kind of where we've worked with some of our agency partners, so City of Phoenix, Avondale, Tolleson, ADOT have been our other government agencies that we've been working with, and then WSP is our engineering consultant, and then University of Arizona, University of Michigan, and ITS America have been some technical experts for us, so helping us evaluate engineering documentation, keeping us up to speed with current state of the art on anything that's changed recently, that kind of thing. And then we've got support from the Commerce Authority and the Trucking Association, so both of them are really interested in how we can roll this technology out to benefit their members going forward. So we've done a lot of stakeholder outreach and communications for this project. So we have a fact sheet that's been developed. I think if you scan the QR code there on the bottom, it should take you to the page, but we can also share that with you. And so we're really trying to help other people duplicate our results here. So we're certainly interested in feedback. If anybody's interested in advancing this kind of technology in their city, we want to help you do that. Eventually, I see this as a foundational project that we build out, valley-wide. So potentially in, additional cities being involved, or additional types of safety messages, additional types of, ways that we're communicating vehicle to traffic signal. So certainly interested. If anybody has any questions or has any feedback, feel free to let me know. And then, yeah, so there's contact information if anybody needs it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Do any members have questions for Joe on this? Go ahead. No, you're good, Alan.
With the city of Buckeye, just probably a stupid question, but so each one would go back to its own TMC. So like this Avondale signal, it's not a central TMC. It'd be going to Avondale's TMC, correct?
So currently the software it will be housed at the MCDOT TMC, but there isn't really like a day-to-day operation that's required by a TMC operator. But you would be able to have visibility at any TMC if that was something. So we haven't really discussed about, rolling it out to multiple agencies. We're kind of just focused on our 3 right now. But, as we expand that, those are conversations we would need to have about, who wants to see what and how they want to be able to interact with it. But something like the security certificate system, we could potentially house that at MCDOT, and you wouldn't necessarily have to set up your own system that then has to validate everybody else's certificates. Your vehicles would just take from our pool of certificates. So.
Joe, I'm curious, MCDOT or any of the other partner agencies, are there any plans to expand the deployment of the RSUs, like preliminary plans, any funding targeted? I know this is kind of a quick burn, 25% of the intersections, but any of the partner agencies or MCDOT, any further plans for RSU deployment?
So we have some kind of loose plans, adding this as a standard kind of package for our future intersections. We don't have intersections identified at the moment, but we do look at it as something that's going to be included on all of our future builds going forward. I don't know, Simon, if you want to chime in, if you have anything to add from the city of Phoenix side.
And we have one deployment right now in Ahwatukee, so about 20 intersections. So we're working with our fire department to get the interactions between the OBU and RSU. Looking to do next stages probably the next few months. So more to share on that.
But yeah, we do see it continuing, and part of our strategic plan is including the connected vehicle technology.
Do any other members have questions for Joe? I do have one comment. It's not necessarily a question, but this is just me talking. There are probably people at my city or my town, excuse me, who might not necessarily disagree with me, and maybe people on this committee, but I would sure love to see, whether it's this project or some other, we've all demoed so many different, preemption devices, that if we could somehow, and I have it in my survey as well, but come up with a regional solution that we all could buy in on and agree on, so that we do have that level of ability, for the fire trucks to pass a little bit more, and emergency vehicles, seamlessly, through our different jurisdictions, and have similar policies and whatever to, qualify for that funding, as far as, your level of participation and a requirement. I personally, I would love to see that. I'm so, I'm not saying I would ever want to get away from the technology, but if we could ever come up with a regional solution on that, and then we go ahead and dabble and look at all the other new technologies, whatever else, and then vote on a regional replacement solution, I would love that myself. And so that's just a comment. Does anyone else have any other questions on this before we move on? All right. Thank you, Joe. I I went the wrong way. Hang on. This item number 9. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Justice Barrowman, MAG Transportation Planner. That'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair, members of the committee. Justice Berman, like Mike said, Transportation Planner here at MAG, and I'll be showcasing how connected vehicle data is used to assess pavement conditions throughout the region, and I'll provide a brief demonstration of the platform. So MAG uses pavement roughness as a scoring criterion for competitive programs, and more specifically for arterial rehabilitation and reconstruction. The metric supports MAG's commitment to maintaining the region's roadway infrastructure in a state of good repair and aligns with federal requirements from the Federal Highway Administration, which mandates pavement condition reporting on the national highway system. Having consistent and current pavement condition data enables MAG and our member agencies to identify and prioritize segments with the greatest infrastructure need across the regional transportation network. Now, historically, pavement conditions are measured using specialized vehicles equipped with LiDAR. These surveys are costly and often are inaccessible to smaller jurisdictions. So as a result, data coverage has historically been inconsistent and incomplete, particularly for collectors and minor arterials. Much of this data was outdated by the time it informed project scoring. In 2019, MAG's Regional Arterial and Bridge Needs Assessment Project aggregated pavement condition data from numerous agencies, each using its own rating system, PCI, PACER, PCR, and PQI. And through largely academic research to compare the disparate collection types, we developed that crosswalk to convert these into a good, fair, poor scale. And while it's functional, this process took 9 months and it resulted in a loss of granularity and consistency. Now in 2023, with the SunCloud data portal, MAG piloted a new approach using data from Nair Dynamics, which is a company that collects International Roughness Index, or IRI data, through onboard sensors in connected vehicles. When I took this to TRC and Streets previously, I had questions on what vehicles, and Nair publishes this on their website, but these are sensors in vehicles from Volkswagen Auto Group. So these data are anonymized, aggregated, and processed to create a pavement roughness maps for freeways and arterials, as well as these collector roads across the entire region. And what you're seeing there on the left side is a screenshot from the dashboard showing the long-term pavement conditions near North Gateway, which is actually where I live. And that clump of alerts on Dove Valley Road, I can confirm I've experienced. So this platform provides both daily updates and both 90-day aggregates. It has been validated against traditional survey methods by MAG and independently. And now that we've subscribed to this platform, we'll be able to leverage that data currently incorporated in the SunCloud data portal, but now with regular updates. This approach can provide several benefits to your local agencies. It can be used as a substitute for expensive LiDAR-based pavement surveys, or to validate and supplement that traditional data collection method. Agencies can receive timely, consistent updates and alerts for sudden surface degradation. You could use this data to track roadway conditions over time and easily identify strong candidates for future project applications where pavement condition is a consideration. And lastly, each agency is going to have direct access to this dashboard and view pavement roughness maps in their jurisdictions without having to request that data from MAG, but always we're going to be here to provide assistance. I'll move on to a brief demonstration of the dashboard. What I'll start with is how you'll see the dashboard when you first open it up. Most of the page is devoted to the roadway network of your selected operating area, your jurisdiction. In this case, ADOT, and the colored segmented lines denote pavement roughness and the slider to adjust severity that appears with various alerts indicating bumps, potholes, deteriorating, and improving roadways. And all of this information gets updated every day. You can adjust to show exactly what's pertinent to you and set minimum severity so that you're not just seeing alerts for small potholes all over the map. So as you can see, you are able to select the operating area of your choosing, and I've picked Phoenix for this upcoming example. It will adjust the display as you zoom in and out so that you can receive the appropriate amount of information density. When you zoom in here, you can actually get a sense for that coverage that I was mentioning earlier. Here, we can see the conditions and alerts around the MAG offices. We'll switch back to ADOT's operating area for the remainder of this demonstration. Oops, 1 second. Let me go back. Apologies, Chair and members of the committee. Let's see. So we'll switch back to ADOT and we'll move to a location that I'm familiar with. Do you mind going back one slide to see if there's a slide missing? Yeah, go back. Okay. And then can you fast forward through here, Tyler? Right there in the middle. Right, so we're gonna move to southbound I-17 on Carefree Highway. Clicking on an identified road segment will open a detailed pane that will allow you to analyze the pavement roughness at various points of that segment, and it will display that information across a specified period. With this, you can gather when and where roadways have deteriorated and to what state. Your hotter colors indicate rougher pavement and vice versa. Here you can see on that particular segment in the middle of where I've clicked on has the roughest pavement. And here you can adjust the scale of the graph to identify spikes in pavement as well at certain points of time. We'll move to the analytics tab of the dashboard, which allows you to generate a roughness delta report for a specified operating area. We'll choose a year delta, verify our settings, and generate our report. Once it's completed, you can see the roughness distribution for your beginning and end date, as well as the number of segments that have changed classification to either improved or deteriorated. This is most visible on the map that's below, and here you can see a diamond grind pavement improvement project on I-17. And as well, when we move to the Broadway Curve project area, you can see a number of improved roadways in the last year. Finally, you can export this data to work offline within a specified beginning and end date. Either you select your operating area, or you'll be able to draw a polygon around networks that you've identified that you would like to export. Once you've drawn your polygon and selected what type of data you would like to export, it'll become available for your download. So NERA's Road Health Dashboard is one example of how connected vehicle data can be applied, and it gives us continuous insight into roadway conditions, roughness, and surface deterioration. But the same type of data sources opens the door to other applications. My colleague Wong presented information regarding NRIC signal analytics to this committee back in March. It allows us to measure how intersections and corridors perform across the region, capturing delays, travel time, and arrivals on green. And that's information we can use to more effectively manage and retime our arterial corridors without needing to install additional field equipment. We also see potential in streetlights connected vehicle data, which moves us beyond traditional traffic condition monitoring and can identify freeway bottlenecks, show where queues are forming, and even flag patterns of harsh braking to that point to potential safety concerns. That's the image that you see here on the left, which is I-10 and Loop 202, South Mountain and Santan. So while I showed you one application relating to pavement health, the larger point is that connected vehicle data is becoming a versatile resource for both planning and operations, helping us see how the system performs in real time and where we need to act. Thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. And if you'd like to request access for the NIRA platform or the recorded training that we held previously, you can scan the QR code or feel free to send me an email following this meeting. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Justice. Do any members have questions for him? Well, I found that very interesting.
Much appreciated, Chair.
I have a quick question. for, and this might just be applicable for the streetlight one, but correct me if I'm completely off base. Is there one of these where you can look at kind of the rough origin destination pattern where people are coming and going from?
Chair, members of the committee, from what I understand, a lot of these connected vehicle data sources have anonymized the data to the point where you aren't typically able to identify a user's, say, home location and work location. But I would love to get back to you if I can get an answer on a specific platform where you can identify O&D through connected vehicle data.
Okay, thanks.
Ellie, if I can just chime in, I do know that there are platforms that use not necessarily connected vehicle information, but connected device information that do share high level OD. We use them at Surprise for a lot of our events in our recreation campus. So it'll give information as to what zip code a participant that attended the event, where their origin was. It won't give necessarily an address, but it gives a zip code.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a bunch of different levels, but that's just the small little, of the surface that we've scratched.
I don't want any addresses. Just curious where they're coming from.
Anyone else? I do have one quick question, and that is just, what is the intention for the future of this? Like, where are you going after this? Are they going to continue to expand it, or what?
Yeah, Chair. So in a previous slide, I had mentioned that we'd subscribe to this data platform, which means that we can now utilize, instead of the one-time data points that we had in the SunCloud data portal, we'll be able to continuously get these updates to assist in project scoring for the arterial rehab and reconstruction program. That's going to give us consistent and more complete coverage whenever these projects come through. And so we can have better projects and easier time scoring them.
So because a lot of those projects do come through the streets committee, I'm assuming you presented this there as well.
That's correct, yeah.
All right, just curious. That's interesting to me. I hadn't seen it. All right, last chance. I'm going to move on. All right. Item number 10. Are there any requests from members for an item on a future agenda? Anyone? You don't have a burning question that you would like this committee to help you answer? I know I already mentioned it, but I wouldn't mind. I don't know how future out, but a regional solution to preemption would be awesome. Probably years away. I probably won't even be alive anymore, but anyways. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Micah Henry has a hand up.
Hey, I hate to harken back on this, but I wanted to see, in the past, I know this committee has looked at TSOP projects and the available funding for them. Is there anything that we need to do right now to shift the prior, and I should have brought this up before, I just totally spaced it, to look at what available funding is based on, I don't know, whatever the top 10 or however many projects work to exhaust the available funding, and see if we need to jump up any other projects to take advantage of the available funding?
I'll let David respond to that for you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, members of the ITS committee, Micah, thanks for the question. It is something that we're looking at. Like I'd mentioned previously, we are reassessing and evaluating the current TSOP. So looking at how we allocate the available funding is certainly part of that conversation and part of those discussions. Those kind of decisions will be made by the policy committees. We can certainly provide our recommendations, and that's the purpose of that evaluation project, is to look at those different considerations, different options that have been brought by member agencies like yourself, and present those for consideration. So it's definitely part of the discussion. Thank you.
Again, as
Perfect,
part of
thanks.
that, it's important you fill out that survey, Mike, if you haven't already.
I filled it out when it was first available.
All right, thank you. I guess, are there any other suggestions for future agenda items? Okay, hearing none. The next agenda item is comments from the committee. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Do we want to just go around the room here first? All right, let's go ahead and just start over here with you,
Sure.
Ellie.
My only comment to share is recently we have been doing an assessment of all of our video detection systems regarding bicycles at night. So we've had a lot of comments lately that they're not getting picked up, and so we've been testing them. And so far we found that none of them are reliable. So I know there's a group, everybody has some different detection types and devices and systems out there. So I'll probably expect to hear from me to see if I can come ride my bike around your city at some point at nighttime and see if any of them work. That would be great.
All right, we'll move on to John.
Just, I guess, to piggyback off what Ellie said, we're starting to demo a LiDAR unit. So just something that we're looking at, and I think that would be very helpful for identifying bicycles at night. So technology that we're potentially moving forward with. Thanks.
I'll give a primer. Aztec's Strategic Steering Committee is having a meeting coming up on Monday, November 17th. So if you're participating in Aztec, please plan on attending that. Kind of want to give everyone a heads up. And then also McDOT is going to be presenting with ITS America in a webinar on October 7th, if anybody's interested in that. And then we'll also be at ITS Arizona on October 9th for a presentation. So come see us if you're interested in connected vehicles.
No update.
Micah, did you have a question?
I've got an update. Sorry, I didn't. For some reason, the sound dropped out.
It was my fault. I just realized I hadn't pushed the button.
You gotta push the button. All right. For City Mesa, I just want to do a quick plug at the ITS Arizona conference coming up. Steve Hall, our ITS analyst over here at the Traffic Management Center, he and I will be presenting our initial findings for putting EOS with peer-to-peer communications out on light rail. So everyone should hang out. It's going to be amazing. Come and learn from our trials and tribulations. The other thing that we're looking at doing is we've been deploying the Wavetronics product using radar, and we're looking to update some of our very much older video detection systems and putting a little bit more Wavetronics out there to see how robust that's going to work for us. So we used it for dilemma zone detection to pretty good with pretty good results. So we're just looking at other technologies that's going to help us out to do what we need. So that's it for Mesa.
All right, Micah, for Ellie, can you go ahead and throw bikes in there too and see how that's going? I'm just kidding. Going for it. I'm going to move on to Albert now here at the table first with the City of Surprise.
No updates for Surprise.
And Simon, it looks like you're probably going to be next unless Federal Highways has anything they want to talk about.
No updates from Federal Highways.
All right. They are not furloughed apparently for this committee. Go ahead.
So we're officially at 50% completion with our signal retiming program. This is in conjunction with retiming the signals with the new, somewhat new yellow change intervals using the NHRP for the left turn yellows, and then the 2020 guidelines for the through and the reds. So we're hoping to be completed by the end of October next year. So other than that, I got a couple of advertisements for traffic engineers coming out in the next few weeks.
All right. For those of you that were down at Roads and Streets, if you saw the presentation that Puya put on with Simon there, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. You know, he's a really smart guy. We'll go ahead and move on to those that are online. Brandon, you have your hand up? All right, let's go ahead and go with Marty. You have your hand up?
Yes, hi everyone. Just wanted to piggyback off of Joe's item for the connected vehicle acceleration zone. So we are finalizing our IGA right now. And as it looks like, we're going to be installing transponders on every one of our light rail vehicles. So that's going to be a really exciting partnership.
That is exciting. Does anyone else have their hand up there that you can see other than Brandon?
None, Mr. Chair.
All right, Brandon, this is your last chance. All right. With that, we'll go ahead. Oh, is he there? Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, are you muted?
If you want, Brandon, you can type it into the chat if you want, whatever update you might have, and they can read it off here if it's not too much. Oh, the chat's disabled. I apologize.
Hi, this is Brandon Forey. I'm using Isaiah's computer here. I actually wanted to take this moment to introduce our newest employee, Isaiah Landavaso. He's come to us from the city of Phoenix. This is his first week. So I just wanted everyone to give a warm welcome to Isaiah.
All right. Thank you. That's probably one of the positions Simon's filling. So that's great. Anyways, I can't resist. But anyways, are there, I guess that's it for as far as the updates, from everyone. So we'll move on to the next item, which is adjournment. The next meeting of the Intelligent Transportation Systems Committee will be on Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 at 10 a.m. With no further business today, the meeting is adjourned.